Warface on the Nintendo Switch, we're doing tips and tricks. The first one right off the bat is this cool area before your game loads in. Is a great spot to kind of test out your weapons, get a good hold on the game, and then run over here and you can do the jungle gym in order to practice the movement system within the title. So this is a great little spot to kind of kick it off. And that guy creepily watches you. But yeah, it's a good way to kind of just test your weapons out. Great, so now we're in an actual match here. We're doing the storm mode in order to kind of showcase a good kind of chain of abilities. So I personally suggest turning off the gyro options, and you can do that right here. If you want to have them on, go ahead, but yeah, once you're in a game, you can do that there. Or you can do it from the opening main menu. So moving around, pretty simple. I mean, your standard FPS title. Zoom in and shoot. I definitely suggest firing away as soon as possible, as soon as you're aimed in, because the game does have a really good magnetic sort of lock onto things. It snaps very well on players, which is helpful. So you can click in the left in order to sprint, and then you can tap the A button in order to do a slide. So slides are really good if you're kind of running at somebody and somebody's shooting at you, because you can also just kind of like go like this, and you can just blast while you're actually sliding away. You can also do it around corners if you know somebody's there, because then they're going to be aiming up and you can kind of slide down. Keep in mind that the game does have a jump feature, which can be helpful if you need to traverse objects and stuff like that. You can hop along and kind of also dodge fire a bit and jump over, well, I guess mantle over a number of objects, which is really quite helpful. Don't forget the game does have the option to crouch if you want to go a little bit lower so you're less seen, and the ability to go prone so that you can lay all the way down and, you know, be less available for fire. Not a good situation there. You can switch classes between rounds, so we're going to do the medic one to kind of show that off. Keep in mind that you will need to actually do the sort of tutorial things to get the new classes. So those are actually good to do because they will teach you the mechanics of the character's classes and will also give you certain in-game bonuses. So we've got the medic here, a little bit different of a class. I will note if you click up on the little tiny, I guess, D-pad arrow thing, you can pull out a knife and shank people if that's your sort of thing. Oh, Jesus, I get shot in the back there while trying to demonstrate things to help people out. You can also click down, and that will pull out your grenade, or you can also click R, as you were seeing there. You can hold your grenade for the wheel and cook it, but make sure you throw it before the cooking is done. If you click left on the D-pad, you get like an info thing, and you can like do certain attachments onto your weapons, so that's kind of a helpful thing to do. Well, I kind of turned it off. Give me a sec, I'll click it again so you can actually see it. And you can see now we got an attachment on our gun. So that's cool. And then your classes, they'll also have abilities. So we got like the medic one here. And you can go around to like healing people. And, you know, that's obviously beneficial if you're a medic. The other classes have different abilities. You can also see the options from the bottom left. It's a very clean sort of letting you know HUD interface of what's going on. Keep in mind that aside from your health, you also have a sort of like a shield option for like an armor in this one, and one of the classes sort of fills in there. You can spectate your teammates to get an idea what they're doing between deaths, and we'll just wait to resurrect here. So some guns best fired from like the hip, which is usually the shotgun, but if somebody is at a further distance, you know, obviously aiming down the sight is going to be a big advantage. Is that guy camping there again? Ridiculous. But yeah, don't be afraid to look for certain vantage points in the game. Like spots like this are really good at kind of like giving you an elevated spot on the right hand side there if they were coming up that slope. The game is very linear, so it's hard to find areas where you can sort of, you know, almost hide yourself and get an advantage. There are a number of them that are really good if you can find somebody to co-op with you. So basically they have a bunch of spots in the game where you can grab a buddy in the game, well, just any random person going by, and you can like help each other up, and that gives you a really good vantage point most of the time that other players can access because they have to have somebody else with them in order to do that. Keep in mind there is like a respawn penalty, I guess, for actually switching your classes, so keep that in mind. This is what I was talking about. You actually have to go up here and you can press Y to do the assist, and then usually somebody comes and then you can like prop yourself up in order to do it. I think this guy is running over, so we can show it off. Yeah, and then you get each other up. Yeah, get each other up. Yeah, hilarious. But then you basically get to a new sort of area that others really can't access, which is obviously like a really strong vantage point, because I mean I can look down here and I can directly shoot at enemies and stuff, and it's very helpful. Whereas they'd have to, oh jeez, totally forgot there's another guy down there. Don't forget you can press at any point the X button in order to pull out your pistol, which is obviously faster than doing a reload, and then you can just pop off some shots and usually finish somebody off if that is, you know, the situation. You can hold L, and that will allow you to have options such as like need medic, need armor, need ammo, and then that will prompt up on your screen, so that's kind of helpful. If you didn't know that, it's like a contextual option, which is kind of cool, especially if you weren't aware of it. There is a stamina bar on the bottom of the screen that you'll see show up right there as I'm doing certain things. You can see the threshold for availability on it. That's basically how long you can keep running until you have to stop. Show off the penalty for, no, messed up the sliding. Remember, you need stamina in order to do certain things. Green arrows will largely tell you where you're able to maneuver to, but sometimes they're not available and you can still go over these objects, like this fence that I've been using a number of times. Oh geez, see, he did the slide technique, very helpful, especially if you have like an SMG type thing. Very good. But those are like kind of like the basic controls of it. It's about you know, being smart, finding good vantage points, using your team effectively. You can hide out too. You can do more like a camping thing and stuff like that. That's obviously a big advantage. Jeez. It is a lot harder to kind of spray and pray in this one, but you can very much fire from the hip and not have too much of a trouble. It's really a classic FPS title, so a lot of the same, you know, sort of mechanics for playing like standard FPS apply here. It's just a lot more linear in nature in regards to the levels. They're not as open of maps. That's just because of the design of the time. Yeah, so it does, I believe, also has the rumble aspect of it, so that's kind of interesting for people who care about that feature. And a lot of it is cooperative play, working as a team to eliminate your enemies. If you're playing as a medic, heal other people, even though you really don't get much of a chance to, quite honestly. And don't be afraid to just kind of fire away. Again, a lot of the bullets sort of almost magnetize to enemies. And that's obviously helpful, especially with the way that the Joy-Cons are not great for aiming. Be very careful with the grenades, because they don't throw quite how you would almost expect them to. Having played other FPS games, they feel a little bit more, I don't know how you say, weighted basically as a control option. You just camping along there. I guess hopping didn't really help there, but I should maybe crouched and been able to reload. I do suggest keeping your clip reloaded, because you know you do tend to waste a lot of bullets in this, and you might need that helpful extra bullet in order to finish somebody off. There's not really like bullet penetration in this one, but I have noticed some bullet lag is present, so you might be able to get people even if they're not directly in your line of sight. Oh jeez. Ugh. And don't be afraid to look out for your other friendly class people, because they might be able to give you a hand in regards to like health or ammo. Every class fits a niche, and this is particularly important if you are playing the cooperative mode in the game, because in the cooperative mode, you know, everybody needs to really fill that niche, because you are fighting AI, and the AI can be, I don't know, overwhelming to a degree, you know, really taking it to you, so you gotta actually help each other out, work together, be effective as a squad. Because while it doesn't seem like it necessarily, this is a game that is based on cooperative play. Objectives on the map are clearly displayed, so, you know, it's not too hard to understand where you're going. Obviously, got the mini-map. You can hold minus and pull out a full mini-map, see your KD ratio, see where everybody is on the map. So that's obviously helpful to a degree, I guess. Those hit markers are kind of like annoying. And don't be afraid to go into your settings and actually like adjust certain aspects of the UI and the layout and everything like that to see, you know, what else you can do. I hope the customizing weapon thing was kind of a neat thing that you might not know about. Yeah, and then you customize the crosshair and everything there too if you want. Sensitivity. They actually do give you a lot of options when it comes to adjusting how it's going to play and everything. So anyways, tips and tricks on Warface. I hope that helped. If you have any additional questions, let me know. But I think I covered most of the key points of movement and, you know, playing everything like that. Obviously, aiming higher, headshots, going to do more damage, kill faster. But you can just kind of body people. They die pretty quick.